program on Sports Radio 92.3 FM WOSQ. We're heading to Nuts Deep 2 on South Central Avenue in Marshfield tonight to visit with high school girls basketball coaches from throughout Central Wisconsin about their upcoming seasons. That's up next on Sports Radio 92.3 FM WOSQ and WOSQFM.com. Our high school girls basketball preview program on WOSQ is brought to us by Arts Body Shop, Forward Bank, Remax American Dream Realty, Doctors Care MD of Colby and Abbotsford, Trudeau Construction, Poor Choices, and Comfort Systems of Marshfield. It's our high school girls basketball preview program on Sports Radio 92.3 FM WOSQ and WOSQFM.com. And good evening and welcome to Nuts Deep 2 on South Central Avenue in Marshfield as we bring you our girls basketball preview program tonight. This evening we'll speak with a number of girls basketball coaches from throughout Central Wisconsin about the upcoming girls basketball season. Along with Jason Zaleski and Larry Hazer, I'm Gene Delisio. Happy to have you with us for our girls basketball preview program this evening here on WOSQ. Larry Hazer joining us. Larry, good to be having you back with us once again for our program.
Good to be here, Gene. Thanks for inviting me.
And they just brought the pizza out, so we won't see Jason Zaleski for another hour or so, but eventually he'll come by and participate in the program as well. Well, let's get things underway because Columbus Dons basketball coach Eric Wilson is joining us as our first guest this evening. Coach, thanks for coming by and welcome to our program tonight.
Appreciate having you, Gene and Larry. Thanks for having me. Appreciate the coverage throughout the year. So looking forward to a season and talking a little basketball with you guys.
And a lot of people know you as a former Marshfield Tiger basketball stand-up back in the 90s. You've been assisting in Columbus programs, other programs as well in recent years. Tell us about the background you bring now to the program at Columbus High School.
Sure. A little background on me, Gene, is obviously, I did play at Marshfield, but over the years I've coached quite a bit of different places. It really started for me coaching with Dave MacArthur up at Colby. That's where I really started coaching high school basketball. It was a really good friend of mine. It's also the connection that I have with Columbus because that's where I met Coach Konitschke at Columbus. We became great friends because we were both great friends with Dave MacArthur. So that's kind of how that started. And I coached a lot of youth in between with daughter coming through the Marshfield system as well.
You know, they talk about coaching trees in sports. And Dave MacArthur certainly had a very extensive coaching tree. Many people influenced by his coaching style over the years.
Yeah, absolutely. I still I look back on this day, and every time November comes around, that's one of the days that I look back on, and I wonder what this would look like if he was still around. And he had a lot of influence on me. He had a lot of influence on a lot of people in my life, and so I think that's a big piece of it. I think you're right about that.
Well, let's talk about the early part of your season. What have you done as a new coach to prepare yourself for the Columbus girls basketball season this year?
One of the things that was a little easier for me is I've been with the Columbus program, I would say. I think the girls and boys we kind of meshed together a little bit. I've been with, Coach Konitschke for the last 6 years before this. So 7th year at Columbus, it's just I'm moving over to the girls' side. Had a great time with it so far. The girls have been amazing. They bought in. We had a great summer. Played a bunch of tournaments this summer. We played over in the Neilsville League for the summer. So we got a lot of stuff installed this summer as we went, and we were able to somewhat hit the ground running. Obviously, when you get into the season, it's a little bit different. The games are a little bit different from there. But overall, I couldn't be more pleased with the effort our girls have brought, and they bought in. And we've had we're in 4th week now already. It's hard to believe. And things are going fairly well. Obviously, we hit some bumps here and there, but that's expected. I mean, you don't go through a season without bumps. So we'll get through them and go from there.
What is it about coaching at Columbus High School that makes that so attractive?
For me, I believe in what we do there. The big thing, I believe in the school, and I believe in how we take care of athletes. And I'm not saying that we don't do it, people don't do it other places. I just really believe in what we do to help kids be better equipped to take on life as we go on. I think that's really where it fit. We did it at Colby too. It's just taken on a little bit of different dimension. And I'll say this, Coach Konitschke is a big part of it. He's a big part of why I'm there, for the reason that kids look up to him and they're friends for life. And I have those relationships on the boys' side. I've got kids from when we went and played in the state championship game. Jared Mendel's back in the school teaching and coaching. Kids like Noah Taylor, they still reach out, and kids like that. It's lifelong relationships that have been built. I think that's what's special about it.
Well, let's talk about your basketball team for this season. Fill us in on the start, how things look for the Columbus girls this year.
Sure, we're 4 games in. We started out, we played Rib Lake. As we went, we played Rib Lake on the first Tuesday possible, so we had a whole 7 days of practice beforehand. Really a tale of two halves in that game. We went up 35-9 to start, and then they made a huge run on us, and we ended up winning by 3. I probably lost 10 years of my life that night, but it was a good experience for the girls as we went there. We played in the Cranberry Classic then over Thanksgiving. We lost a heartbreaker to Waiwega Fremont on Friday afternoon by 1, and then we beat Nakusa pretty handily from there. And then last night we got it taken to us a little bit by Auburndale. We competed. I'm really happy with how it competed. It showed we have to clean some things up. There's some things that we have to do a little bit better fundamentally, sound, and I thought it was a great test to start the year because it focused us back up at practice tonight.
And tell us about some young ladies on your ball club this year, where they fit in for you.
Sure. I think the first 4 girls I'd like to talk about is our 4 seniors. I've got 4 seniors. I've got Maggie Callahan, who's a 4-year varsity performer for us, does all the things as a leader. Sam Casperson's played varsity for 3 years. She's a huge leader for us. She loves to be in the gym just as well as Maggie Callahan. And I've got Courtney Summer, who is a great volleyball player, who's starting to learn how to use that on the basketball floor. And you're starting to see it. She probably played a little bit more of a background role the last couple of years on the basketball floor, but she's starting to be a leader for us. And I think you're going to see big things from her going forward. Then our 4th senior is Matea Schlafke. Could not be happier to have her out. She hasn't played in 2 years. I think the last year she played as a freshman. She's starting for us, and I don't know that I've seen a girl play harder than her. Gene, you saw our game last night, and she just plays hard all the time. And as she starts to pick up the little nuances of the game again, it's just going to get better from there. A couple other girls we got. I've got a freshman in Sophie Wilczek who's starting for me right now. She's going through some ups and downs, but pleasantly surprised. She's going to be a really good player for us for quite some time. Missing a girl right now that we can't wait to get back. Gracie Wilczek tore her knee up last February. I think we're getting close to her starting to be able to play at some time. I don't have a timetable exactly on that, but we miss her right now. She's a leader for this team, and I'd be happy to have her back. And then rounding out the varsity, we got 3 sophomores. I have Chase Blanker, who really fills in for Courtney and Matea down in the post. I've got Haley Hargraves, and then Caitlin Casperson, which is Sam's little sister, that come in and help us at the guard position. So that's our varsity team right now. Obviously, getting Gracie back right now will be a big boost for us.
Coach, can you talk about the role that Maggie fills on your ball club? Because she, as you mentioned, has started since her freshman year. And when a ball player is around that long, I think some fans think, well, you've been playing for 4 years. You're going to score 28 points per game and do a great job. And that's really not her game. She can score for you, but there's other aspects of her game in which she's very strong. Tell us about what the expectations are for her and what her role would be this year.
I think for Maggie, it's just understanding that she doesn't have to do everything. I think you're right. I think that role does get put on her. Maggie has become a very good shooter. And we're trying to make sure that she does other things on the floor. Maggie has bought into everything we've asked her to do. She's being more of a playmaker for us this year. She's understanding. I mean, she shot the ball at almost over a 50% clip for the first 3 games. She got marked last night from Auburndale. They weren't going to let her shoot the ball. So she's learned how to do some other things, and she's a really great leader for our younger kids. That's the biggest thing. She takes them under her wing, makes sure that they know how to take care of themselves after practice, what's to be expected on road trips, etc. like that. So she's just a really good leader for us.
Well, let's bring in Larry Hazer, has some questions and comments for you. Larry?
All right, Gene, you lost a couple of starters, Jenna Kibble and Haley Zimmerman, both averaging 10 points a game last year.
Sure.
How you've been able to make up for that this year with the
I don't know that we've made up for it. I mean, for me, I wasn't with them last year, so I don't really know what missing them looks like. I think more of it, though, I'm feeling it with talking to kids. I think that they're having to understand that they've got to, and I'll take for like Courtney Summer and Sam Casperson, they got to step up into a leadership role. They followed those 2 before. It's helping them get comfortable with that. I think so. As we go through that and do that, that's the part I think where we miss them. Obviously, I'd love to have the 2 of them back. They could score the ball. That's a huge help. But I think we're having a couple kids then step up and have to be more of a leader and help the younger kids. And they're starting to realize that, hey, when I'm the leading scorer, I get a little more attention now. And I think that's the part of helping them through that piece.
Clarabelle Conference, you've got Neelsville predicted to be up there, and you guys are predicted to be right up there as well. How do you see that Clover Bell Conference this year?
You know, I said this earlier. I did an interview with Gene a little earlier at the end of the year. The reality is Neillsville's top of the class. That it is, and Coach Geyer's done over there in their program. We played in their summer league. I think if you can learn to compete with Neillsville, you're going to be in a really good position, especially since they're D4 and a lot of us are D5. I think it's Neillsville and then the rest of us. I told our girls last night, I said, it depends how our effort is every night. You know, we could be in the top 1 or 2 under them. We could also be towards the bottom. I think there's a big long jam there. You know, I brought up, I know Kyle Davis very well. He's the new coach at Spencer. I think they're going to make a jump this year. His daughter's a really good player. Loyal's always really good. I think Owens made a step from there. So I think it's really wide open after Neillsville. I appreciate that people think we're there. I think we have to prove that, though. I don't think that's a given.
What about your team now? What do you think is going to be the key for you guys to be successful this season?
You know, I think there's 2 really big keys for us right now. I think we have to figure out who's going to score the ball for us. I think that's the biggest thing. I think we have some kids that are capable of doing that, but I don't think they've been marked. And when I say by marked, I don't think they've been the focus of the other team before. So I think they have to learn how to deal with that. And then I just believe being able to be physically strong and match up with some teams is going to be the thing that we're going to have to battle. I liked what I saw in our first half last night. I think we ran out of a little bit of gas because we're not real deep. I did think we met Auburndale's physicality last night, which I was worried about it. So I think we took a step there. Now we got to figure out how to do it for a whole 36 minutes.
You mentioned boys basketball. You coached for a number of years. How is that transitioning now into girls basketball? Is there some things that you're able to go or not be able to do?
You know, I think there are some differences, obviously. There's no doubt. I've done quite a bit at the youth level with girls, coaching a daughter coming up through. So I knew a little bit of what I was getting into there. What I would tell you is you have to approach them a little bit differently. And I don't think that's a bad thing. The first thing, I think they listen better. Just being honest, I think it's just going through that part of it. I think they do. I think they need somebody that they know they can trust. I think that's the biggest thing. And once you gain their trust, it's amazing what you can get out of them. And I think that's something we really work on. And we're still working on. We've got a coaching staff that, you know, helps do that. And as we go through, once they trust you, we can get just about anything out of them.
Gene?
Well, Coach, thanks for coming by. Columbus Dons girls basketball coach Eric Wilson joining us on our girls basketball preview program this evening. Coach, your next ball game is, I think, next Tuesday, isn't it?
Yep, next Tuesday we open up the Cloverbelt schedule with Spencer, so at home.
Might be nice to have a week break here to work on some things.
Yeah, you know, the schedule's never quite the way you want it to be. You know, you played the first Tuesday. We went almost 11 days without playing, and then we played 3 games in 5 days. So that's kind of the way it works. And it'll be nice to have some practice time and get ready going in. And we got Spencer next week in Neillsville, so there's some work to do to get ready.
All right, well, Coach, good luck this season. Thanks again for coming by.
Appreciate the coverage from all of you guys. If you guys doing this,
You're welcome.
Columbus Dons basketball coach Eric Wilson joining us on our girls basketball preview program from Nuts Deep 2 on South Central Avenue in Marshfield. Back with more of our program following these messages.
Witness the difference of a Catholic education at Columbus Catholic Schools.
I think everyone should just know what makes this place special.
Come and see. That's just what the Lord always said, and put your toe in the water. There are great schools, and it's a good fit. I'd always want them to come and to just to feel the goodness and the family atmosphere.
I invite everyone just to come in and see what it's about and to see if it might be right for them and their family.
We invite you to schedule a tour today.
You know better when you see it.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
But sometimes it's a little harder to tell what better looks like, and you could use a little help.
Thanks, Mom.
Security Health Plan. Everything you need in a health plan. Everything you'd expect from a good neighbor.
The Sports Den, located on Marshfield's sunny south side since 1975. The Sports Den has the area's best selection of outdoor equipment. Find top brands of snowshoes, cross-country and downhill skis, snowboards, swimming equipment, skateboards, and more. The Sports Den has a full-service bike repair center along with top bike brands, Specialized, Trek, and others. The Sports Den is Central Wisconsin's Fat Bike headquarters. Visit the Sports Den in Marshfield Monday through Saturday and thesportsden.net.
Bauer & Feind has been based in Marshfield since 1955. And if you're in business that long, you're obviously doing many things right. We always focus on selling world-class products, backing it up with world-class customer support.
Working with Brownfine Business Technologies has been a pleasure. We have staff on call that we can call if we ever have issues, and the printer usability has been really easy, user-friendly.
Give us a call, visit our website. We'd be happy to come in, talk to you. Maybe there's a way we can help you save some money and work more efficiently.
In Marshfield, we're enjoying our girls basketball preview program this evening, speaking with girls basketball coaches from throughout central Wisconsin. And our next guest is longtime Stratford coach Tammy Christofferson. Tammy, thanks for coming by and welcome to our program for this evening.
Thank you for having me.
And let's talk about your work as Stratford Tiger girls basketball coach. I think maybe a lot of work this year because you lost a lot of very good talent from last year's team. Fill us in at the start of your season, what you've done to prepare for this year.
Yeah, so we graduated 8 seniors and all 5 starters last year. So we did a lot of work on the off season. We have a great group of young girls, and we have a mix from senior all the way to the freshmen playing on this year's varsity team. So there's been a lot of work done in the summer and early this year to get us where we need to be, but we are definitely moving in the right direction.
As I'm sure it has taken its toll on you during the off season to really shift gears the way you have. What's that process been like to plan for a completely new ball club like you have this year?
You know, there's challenge in it, but it's also a fun challenge as well. When you have a team as young and inexperienced as we are, you see growth in the gym every single day. And even now we're entering into that 4th week. Just our improvement from week 1 to week 4 is pretty outstanding. And we have a really, really high ceiling with this team, and I don't even think we're anywhere near close to it. And so that's very exciting as a coach.
All right. Tell us about the players on your ball club this year and some of the key members on your ball club this season.
So we're only returning 2 players that had a great deal of varsity time, and that's both of my seniors this year, Ashley Hollitz and Sailor Kaufman. And then my other starters include Lainey Pankratz, who's a junior, Kayla Casperson, who's a junior as well, and now I'm sitting here and I just blanked out. And my 3rd starter is Kayla. Wait, oh my goodness, this is a great interview. It'll come to me in just a second. But we have a really good mix in terms of like speed and Tria Tubbs, sophomore Tria Tubbs. Sorry, I was trying to think of sophomores there. So sophomore Tria Tubbs. So out of that 5, we just have 2 with extensive varsity experience, and the rest are pretty new. And then we have also at the junior level, we have Kayla Casperson as well, and we have Carly Pankratz as a freshman that's getting big minutes for us. Michaela Stieber is also coming in as a sophomore. Emily Zilke as a sophomore. We have a pretty good rotation right now of 8-9 kids that are all working hard to get some playing time, and we're still kind of, I don't like to call it rebuilding, I like to call it figuring out. And so we're still figuring some things out right now, but they're responding well to the challenge.
You know, Tammy, some names that you mentioned there as your inexperienced ball players are names that I kind of recognize from other sports, Lainey Pankratz being one, a few others. Does that help to have a young lady who maybe hasn't seen much court time for you, but maybe has done well in softball or volleyball or another sport?
Yeah, you know, these girls all, have a can-do attitude. I said we have softball pitchers, and we have first basemen, and we have cross-country state qualifiers, and we have volleyball shining stars as well. So it is a good mix, and I said they are mentally tough, and they like a challenge, and they're a feisty little group. I think people will underestimate us coming in, but not so much after they get on the court with us. So they're a good group, and they want to do well, and they want to win, and they want to get better.
Well, tell us some areas where you think this team might eventually excel for you.
One thing that we have this year that we have not had a great deal since we graduated Brianna Ackley and Emily Hughes is we have some good size this year. Emily Zilke is sophomore, that's at 6'1", and Tria Tubb comes in 5'10", 5'11". Cassidy Downey is in there as well, and she's a good 5'10" too, so I feel like we have good size. We also have pretty good speed. Like I said, we have some cross-country runners and some quick base runners out there that give us a little more options in terms of playing defense as well. And so all that kind of meshes together, and I feel like we have a great variety of players this year.
Some people might be surprised to hear you say that because you had Lauren Krause last couple of years, who was a fine post player, but if you watched her, she really was undersized. She really did a great job for the size limitation she may have had for you.
Yeah, she played much bigger than she was. Like, that girl could literally guard anyone, and she was an outstanding athlete. And unfortunately, we lost I had one more player that had good experience from last year, and we lost Daisy Yoder the week before the season started, tore ACL and is out. And we had, she had put in incredible work in the off season, and we were really, really excited about her. And unfortunately, for the second year in a row, I lost a big part early. Last year it was early in the season, and this year it was before the season. But the girls have really responded well, and she is there every day and is a great part of the team yet, encouraging everyone. And adversity sometimes before we even got started this year, but they have responded well, and a lot of people have stepped up to help fill that void, because she was an incredible, or is still, it's going to be a year before we get her back, but she's an incredible athlete, and she'll come back strong.
Now, have you and your staff had to sit down and say, okay, we've done some things successfully in the past with this group over here that's gone now, this team does some different things now, let's redesign some things offensively or defensively for this new crew?
Like I said, when I first started, I said I had to rein myself in after about 3 days, because I said we're going to be doing a whole bunch of things not really well. So we scaled it back down. With this many young players, I would rather do a few things really well and keep adding as the season goes on, because I had to be like, whoa, hold the horses, like this is too much too fast. And a lot of these players have not played varsity basketball until we stepped on the floor a week and a half ago, and the game moves a lot faster. And so we're really focusing on doing a few things really well right now, and then we hope to evolve from there as the year goes on.
Well, let's bring in Larry Hazer for some questions and comments. Larry?
That was just one of the things I was going to ask you. Graduating all 5 starters from last year and now coming back this year, how much pressure does that put on you to get this group ready for the season?
There's always pressure. There's always, the Marewood is not an easy conference. And so I always say there's never any day off. There's never like, oh, well, we can kind of just show up and win. That doesn't happen in the Marewood. And so I said it just hits you night after night. We just played an incredibly talented Poinette team on Monday. We decided to go for a little drive on a Monday down there, and I'll be honest, they're one of the best Division IV teams that we have played, and we play a tough schedule. But we responded. It was a 20-point game, but if you were watching that game, it never felt like that. We actually closed it within 6 in the second half, and they are an incredible mix of outside, inside, and when a team shoots 80-some% from the line and 50-some% overall, and we still hung with them all night. I felt like we grew up a little bit, and I was really excited to see them not back down from that. Like we gave them a good run and the whole night, and so I know this group can play with anyone. We just have to clean up some of those little things to finish on top in those tight games.
You mentioned the Marewood Conference. How do you see that shaping up this year?
Obviously, we've only played one team in the conference, and that was Marathon. Judging from the scores, I guess Assumption is going to be the front runner right now. And I just saw the first WIS Sports poll come out, and they're rated #1 in the state for D5 right now. That'll be an interesting game. I feel like if you look on paper, we match up with them a little better than some other teams in our conference, but they're going to be tough. Like that's going to be a tough matchup. You just can't turn the ball over in that press. Real easy, right? That's what I tell them. You just don't turn the ball over. You should be just fine. And then like the rest of us, I don't know yet. Like I said, we are all kind of in the same boat. Edgar, Auburndale, us, we all graduated a bulk of our varsity teams last year. And like I said, it's all we've got a lot of young players, and I don't think any one of us quite have it all figured out yet. So I think there's going to be some very close games.
What do you think is going to be the key for you guys, or keys?
Keys for us is we got to continually get better all the time. And I said first and foremost, we've got to do the little things right. Those everyday fundamentals. We've got to finish the easy shots. We've got to cut down on some turnovers right now. We've got to run a smooth offense. And like I said, we're working on we can't just go from point A to point B to point C. We have to create and react to what the defense gives us, and we're making strides there. Defensively, if anybody knows anything about me, we're always a sound defensive team. We're pretty scrappy, but our offense has to match our defensive output as well. And if we can do that, like I said, we have a good mix of guards and posts. I think we're going to give a lot of people a challenge this year.
Gene?
I want to ask Tammy about you scheduling Poynette. You do have a relationship there because you played in their tournament at Christmas time, I believe, for a number of years, or Thanksgiving, was it?
Nope, I've never played Poynette. Softball goes down there and plays them every year. But so I've been to the softball field, but I haven't ever actually been in the gym. So we were in the gym
But
on
nonetheless,
Monday.
as you point out, they're a very strong program, well known around the state. So tell us the thought process of wanting to schedule a real strong team like that for your young ball club.
If I'm 100% honest, I didn't know they were that good. We had an opening in our schedule that we were struggling to fill, and they popped up on the WI website that they had refs and an opening when we had an opening. So I was like, back in February, it sounded like a fantastic idea, and it was. It was a great. It's a non-conference game. And they are tough. They have 2 posts over 6 foot tall, and then they have about 4 guards that if they see the light of day will knock down the 3. So once you think you got them covered, then the posts kick in, and then it's vice versa. But I said, we played some tough basketball. We gave them at least, I said, I want to be competitive. We were competitive, and that's what we walked out of there. And I said, we can play with them, you can play with anybody. So.
Well, tell us about your staff for this year.
So my assistant coach is Tiana Voda, who was the head JV coach last year. We do not have a freshman team this year, so our freshman team coach, Olivia Burrows, moved up, and she has the JV this year. And then we have many people in our program that come in and help out when we need. Troy Bargander has volunteered, and Katie Wojcik has come in, and Greg Belter will be there. So it takes a village. It takes a village to get us ready, and the basketball is a long season with a crazy schedule and where you're playing 3 games a week sometimes. So we're lucky to have people that come in and help us out as well.
Have you seen improvement in your ball club from day 1 of practice to today?
We've seen a big upswing, and every day it's just little things that we're making improvements on. And I said, it's exciting as a coach. This is my 25th year, so I've been here a long time, and it's a good challenge. It's a good challenge for me, it's a good challenge for them, and I spent a lot of years in JV, and that's the one thing I loved about JV was the continuous upswing, and that's what we have right now. So I don't even think we'll hit our peak this year. I think we've got a long way to go before we hit that ceiling.
Well, Tammy, thanks for coming by, and you're playing Prentice, I believe, on Friday night?
Yes, we are the early show on Friday night, 5:30 against Prentice, so we're excited about that.
Well, good luck in that ball game throughout the season. Stratford Tiger girls basketball coach Tammy Christofferson with us on our girls basketball preview program from Nuts Deep 2 on South Central Avenue in Marshfield. We'll come back with more of our program following these messages.
Central Wisconsin Glass is Central Wisconsin's choice for your next new or remodeled shower and bathroom. The experts at Central Wisconsin Glass will effortlessly guide you through the design and installation process. Have the elegant and modern shower and bathroom you've been looking for. Call Central Wisconsin Glass at 715-387-8010. That's 715-387-8010. And Central Wisconsin Glass on Facebook for your residential, commercial, and vehicle glass needs.
Winter's coming fast, which means it's time to hit the trails. Bill's Service Center has all things you need to stay warm and dry on the trails this winter. With a full selection of jackets, bibs, helmets, boots, casual wear. And don't forget that Bill's is your chainsaw safety gear headquarters. Bill's Service Center is your one-stop connection for all your cold weather riding gear.
Don't freeze your jingle bells off. Get your cold weather riding gear at Bill's Service Center. Bill's Service Center, where the adventure begins.
Why work for Staub Construction?
Everybody around you is just family.
Everybody seems to bond together and get along good, and
they, I believe, truly care about their employees.
Staub has a great benefits package.
Staub is an employee-owned company that puts a large emphasis on work-life balance.
And everybody wants to see everybody succeed.
It's a good place to work.
Join the team at Staub Construction. Apply now at staubco.com.
Snow piles up quickly. Remove it just as quickly with Kubota subcompact and compact tractors. Our #1 selling tractors are built to take on winter with front and rear mount snow blowers, blades, and rotary sweepers. Get select Kubota subcompact or compact tractors for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 60 months and save $1,000. See your local Kubota dealer today.
Your local Kubota dealer is Chili Implement, located 1 mile north of Highway 10 in Chili.
Our girls basketball preview program from Nuts Deep 2 on South Central Avenue in Marshfield with Jason Zaleski and Larry Hazer. I'm Gene Delisio. Our next guest is Pittsfield High School basketball coach Jason Knott, who's back in Central Wisconsin as the school superintendent at Pittsfield and now coaching the Panther girls as well. Coach, thanks for coming by and welcome to our program.
Hey, happy to be here.
And tell us about, first of all, the process that got you back into Pittsfield and coaching the girls basketball program this year.
Well, so class of 1990, Pittsfield grad, and then gone for 33 years, and had been a teacher and a coach in the Edgerton School District for about 15 years, and then I went into administration in Evansville, which is about 15 miles away from Edgerton, and spent a decade there. And a year and a half ago, the superintendent position opened up in Pittsfield, and I was contacted about it, and the more I explored it, and at the point I was at in my life and my family, we discussed it and made the decision to apply for the position, and was fortunate enough to be offered the job and moved back. And girls basketball was not on my radar at that time, you know, when I came back in, and then when the position opened up back in the spring, had a couple people approach me about it, and once again talked with my family. And coaching had been a huge part of my life, and basketball obviously prior to coaching, and elected to dive in with the coaching again here, and the school board supported it. You know, obviously there's that tricky part of being a school superintendent and then also serving in that role. And I had actually talked to John in Neilsville to get some perspective, in the same position, and made the decision to move forward with it, and have had zero regrets at this point right now. So it's actually been invigorating for me. Something I've missed a great deal, and it hasn't added to my plate as a burden. It's actually added to my plate as a positive. So,
Coach, what does it mean for a local individual like yourself to come back and take those roles, not only as coach, but as school superintendent, administrator, and knowing the community and knowing some of the ins and outs and some of the positives, negatives, things like that? How is that helpful as a local guy?
Well, a double-edged sword, Gene, is that there's positives that I obviously know the community and the community knows you, but then there's the other side of that, is that, you know, the last time I was here, I was a 19-year-old. So you got to look at it both ways, as I hope I've matured a little bit since 19, now being 52 years old. But there's a special feeling about, you know, the old saying, you can't go home again. You can. And I think the length of the absence made it a little easier to transition back there. A lot of pride involved. I talked about that when we did our interview earlier this year, about the pride of being in your hometown and working in that program, and working in the school district where I went to school, and in the community I grew up in, and now raising our children in that community. I talk to the girls all the time about that Pittsfield, that Panther pride, and I try not to tell too many stories. You know, they don't want to hear that stuff about the 1990 basketball team. And one of my assistant coaches is Kelly Hahn, who was on the girls' state tournament team that Mark Denniston coached. So she's on staff with me, and we try to minimize the amount of, you know, reminiscing about the old times. But we do let that pop out every once in a while to kind of talk about that, and just about the pride of, you know, with this group of girls, they've grown up together. They've been playing together since they were little girls, and there's something special about that, developing together, and they use that as a tool. Boy, they feed off each other, and I feed off of them, the energy they play with. So I've enjoyed it. I haven't experienced any of the negatives yet, to be honest with you. But also, I'm probably still what you'd consider in the honeymoon period, a year and a half in. But I'm old enough to know that there's going to be bumps in the road. But thus far, it's been all positive as far as the return home and being back in Pittsfield again.
As you and I spoke earlier this year, you really took a lot of steps during the off season to prepare for this, getting ready to know this year's ball club as well.
Yeah, we went to we were very fortunate to get into a team camp, because it's kind of late in the game when I got the position, and we were able to get into a summer league up in Weston. That was a very competitive summer league, and actually saw Pacelli and Allman, Pacelli was in it, and several other schools that we're going to see during the course of the year, and some JV teams from some D1 schools, Spash, Marshfield, which, you know, considering school size, those were games that were probably appropriate level at the time that we were at. We went to UW Stevens Point team camp with the kids. Yeah, opportunity to just see them play. We didn't get very deep into stuff. We more or less talked about what our philosophy was going to be, what do we want to focus on, and it was a resounding defense. We're going to build our foundation on defense, and so the way we played when I was in school, you know, although we put up bundles of points, but we played pretty solid defense as well, and then as a coach, defense was always important. So we just talked about what do we want to value, what are we going to hang our hat on, and then we just went out and played. We didn't put in any play sets or any of that stuff. It was a matter of I wanted to see the kids compete this summer, and I told them that. I just want to see you play basketball. Nothing fancy, and what I discovered pretty quickly was that I had a bunch of competitors, and that was evident pretty early that you know, we're athletic. We're athletic. Those girls like to compete. They're very. Our practices, I would argue, our practices tend to be more difficult sometimes than we get in the games as far as what, you know, the girls going at each other because they really try to push each other and improve. But the summer gave me a neat opportunity. First of all, for them to get to know me and kind of what I'm about as a coach, and then for me to get to know the kids, set some goals. So without that, I don't even know where we would be at right now. It just gave a nice foundation for the work we've been doing after the season started here.
Now, how would you assess the start of your season so far?
So very happy with, you know, there's been some struggles in the games with, you know, our shooting percentage isn't where I would like it. Now, you know, I talked to the kids tonight at practice about this. They said, I think we're 3 of 31 as a team to start the season, 3 games from 3. That's not going to play out for the whole season. I would stake a kidney that we're not going to shoot, you know, 10% from 3 for the season. Well, in our free throw percentage isn't where we have expectations to be. The reality is we've won 3 games, and we've done pretty well in those games with those things. And it's not that I'm the eternal optimist, but I tried to, you know, get across to the girls. It's like those areas are going to improve, and we're putting up, you know, we're averaging around 71 points a game right now, and we're not making free throws, and we're not hitting 3-pointers. That's a high upside with those types of things. And what's been consistent in those first 3 games is what we talked about. It's one thing to talk about defense. It's another thing to go out and make it a focus every night, and they do in practice and in games. They take pride in that, and you know, we talk about like make it personal. Every possession, it's personal. Like then we're not going to allow that team to score on us, and they've bought into that, and they get me fired up on the bench the way they play defense. The girls do. I've said it before. It's, you know, I'm 52 years old. There's not a lot that gets me fired up anymore, other than sitting in a recliner and taking a nap after football in the afternoon. But I'll tell you what, I get fired up with these kids watching them play defense. They're a fun group, and they play hard. They play the game the right way. They're unselfish. So it's been invigorating for me getting back into the game with this group of kids.
Let's get some questions and comments from Larry Hazer. Larry?
Coach, you mentioned back in the 1990 team, you know, the reminiscing and all that. Do you bring any of that back with you now, that coaching? The way you played back then? I know you kind of mentioned it a little bit there.
Yeah, we play very similar, actually. I like to get the ball up the court. We like to get the ball up the court, and, you know, we call it strategic fast breaks. We're not necessarily looking to get a layup, but we want to push the ball up the court, and then we can get into our set because we have depth. We go 9 deep, and that's very beneficial with the way we play because they play fast and furious, and I tell them, you'll go out there, give it everything you got, and then you'll get a sub. That team had a lot of depth, and it was similar to what I referenced a couple of minutes ago, very competitive practices because we had a deep team that went after each other because we wanted to help each other improve. So we get the ball up the court, and we put you know, points together in bunches. But I would tell you, you know, that philosophy of getting everybody involved and pushing the ball up the court would be the 2 things that really kind of stick out to me that are similarities. And like if you were to break it down player by player, is that, you know, we had a very talented roster back then. There were a lot of exceptional basketball players on that team and team players. There are similarities in that we have some kids who are very skilled athletes. We were talking earlier about that. These kids are all 3-sport athletes, as you need in schools our size. So they're not just basketball players, they're athletes, but they're athletes who are pretty good basketball players too. and they're just a fun group. So a lot of the athleticism and just that tenacity that they bring out on the court, and we'll play fast. And I think of folks, I've had some folks comment, honestly, that were, back in the day, went to our games and comment and said, boy, sometimes it's like watching that team play again, which I would take as a compliment.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned you're kind of laid back now, being the old age of 52.
Yeah.
Is that your coaching style too? I mean, you get a little feisty on the sideline there? Or?
So I have Nick Kuhn is my JV coach and assistant coach, and Nick's dad coaches over in Neilsville.
Yeah.
Basketball is a huge part of his life, and he's a new teacher in the district. Last year we hired him, and I was talking to Nick earlier this week about coaching because he's at the beginning of his coaching career. And he and I had a conversation. I said, Nick, when I was a new coach, and this is common with new coaches, I yelled a lot. Number one, because sometimes kids don't listen when they're on the court and the crowd's loud. And then sometimes you yell a lot when you're young as a coach because you don't know what else to say at the time, right? Because you don't have that toolbox of skills. What I'd tell you is as I coach through the years and I develop more of those skills and the ability to rely on, on my assistants, I more probably looked at it as a warm demander, more or less like motivate the kids. Something I say to the kids is, I don't yell and scream at kids. I'm going to tell you why. You got young men and women that are out on the basketball court. They make a mistake. They're wearing it. They know it. The last thing they need is their coach yelling and screaming about it in a timeout to bring more attention to it. So I try to focus on, what is it we're looking to do more than those types of things. So, yeah, I would tell you, me, looking back at how I coached in my, when I was a young pup 25 years ago, drastically different with how I do that, but I think that's probably a natural progression for a lot of coaches is when you're young, you tend to yell a lot, and as you get older, you figure out that the kids want it just as bad as you do. I have a pet peeve phrase. I've always had it as a coach, is coach yelling out, hey, come on, we worked on that in practice. I've told my coaches, don't ever say that, because what you're saying right there is it's not my fault, it's the kid's fault. When you yell, we worked on that in practice. I know it sounds silly, but, just things like that. So, yeah, I would say that's pretty accurate.
All right.
Coach, how about your staff for this year?
So I mentioned Nick. Nick Kuhn is my JV coach, so he is a teacher in the school district. And then Corey Cum is one of my volunteer assistants. And then Kelly Michaels, Kelly Hahn, who was a player back in the day for Mark Denniston. It's a nice, well-rounded staff. Kelly brings that piece that the other three of us don't to the girls. The reality was I was never a high school girls basketball player, right? So she's able to relate and connect from that lens, and the girls really rely on that with her, and she does a phenomenal job. She has that knowledge of the game. It's a different game. Although I will tell you, I've commented that we had an exceptional defensive game last night and told the girls, I said, girls, this defensive effort you guys put forward tonight rivaled anything that any of the teams I played on or any of the boys teams I coached. And I coached varsity boys teams at Edgerton. As far as a full product, it rivaled any of those games defensively they put out there. So I'm not trying to sell our young ladies short, but it's a different game than a boys game. So I'm very comfortable with the staff. I think we kind of complement each other. We're not afraid to discuss things and disagree on things and have a conversation, which I think is effective. When you're able to, you don't want everybody thinking the same. If you do that, you get into a kind of a silo.
And you're back in action Friday against Rosholt.
Friday at Rosholt. Yeah, we have 5 in a row on the road. This will be number 3 in a row on the road. Nice thing about that is the next 5 are at home. So we'll have a nice home stretch over the month of December when the roads are not going to be exactly glamorous for driving. But I like it. This group, kind of thrives on that idea. Let's go into their house and kind of show them what we're made of. So, we're at Rosholt Friday and then in New London next Tuesday. Mm-hmm. So,
well, Coach, good luck.
Can I get one more comment in?
Yeah.
Are you surprised at all on how well your team is doing?
No.
Okay.
To be frank with you, no.
Okay.
Now, not what I saw this summer. Not at all. I know probably the humble thing to say is yes, but nope, not at all. Those of us that were around this summer, the parents and the folks who watched them play could see glimpses of this. I didn't think we'd be quite where we're at yet early in the season defensively and with our offense, but not surprised in the least, no.
Okay.
All right, well, Coach, good luck throughout the season. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
Pittsfield High School girls basketball coach Jason Knott with us on our girls basketball preview program from Nuts Deep 2 on South Central Avenue in Marshfield. Back with more in just a moment.
High school sports is being brought to you courtesy.
Wondering what to feed your team after work, the game, or this weekend? Chips Hamburgers in Marshfield and Wisconsin Rapids has tasty, char-broiled burgers for any hungry appetite. From the classic hamburger to the famous Chips Champ and everything in between, check out our daily specials. Stop inside to enjoy your meal with comfortable seating. See our complete menu of burgers, hot ham and cheese, hot beef, chicken and fish, fries, rings, curds, and ice cream served year-round. In a hurry? Same great menu in the drive-thru. Chips Hamburgers in Marshfield and Wisconsin Rapids. Let your job journey begin at Express Employment Professionals. Find hundreds of employers looking for a candidate like you, all in one place at one time. And let Express Employment help connect you with your future career. With locations in Stevens Point, Wausau, Marshfield, and Medford, you'll find local jobs right in your community, including direct hire and evaluation to hire opportunities. Express Employment specializes in light industrial, skilled trades, professional, and office careers. Begin your job journey today with Express Employment Professionals at expresspros.com.
Fleet Farm has everything you need for every season of life. From tending the vegetable garden season to planting 100 acres of crops season. Fleet Farm is your one-stop shop, whether it's strawberry jam season, cook your walleye season, or his first set of wheels season. Fleet Farm is built for every season. Fleet Farm, built for real life.
From humble beginnings in 1904, the Wheatrick family has grown Grassland Dairy Products into one of the largest processors of butter in the nation. Based in Greenwood, Wisconsin, the family and its hundreds of employees continue their pursuit of providing high-quality products that can proudly be served in restaurants and homes across America.
Program.
Well, thank you for having me.
And let's talk about the start of your season. How have things gone for the Colby Ball Club so far this year?
Well, you know, we started out against Abbotsford our first game and got kind of ran over there, but we played pretty hard through the whole thing. Then we played Thorpe, and we started out slow, but we really picked up and mentally got into the game and did very well and finished well against them. And so far we've been off since then, which is kind of a nice thing to be able to work on some stuff. We don't play again until next week, Tuesday, against Loyal. So,
well, tell us about the steps you took to prepare for this group coming in for you this season.
You know, I lost some players this year, and I just kind of I got three returning varsity players. Angelique Hernandez, Alexi Vanderhoof. They both, and Harrison Schmidt, all three of them have been playing since they were freshmen. I got another junior coming in, Lily Brzezinski. She's got some good height to her. She started playing at the end of the year. Dakota Haper is a junior. She been playing varsity since last year. She played varsity all year last year. And then another junior, Lucia Perez. She just started playing varsity this year. In 8th grade, she blew her knee out, and so she missed her whole, at the end of her 8th grade year, and missed her whole freshman year. So she actually really took huge strides in a year, getting back into basketball. Then I got three seniors, Sydney Meyer, out there just hustling and playing with all her heart, Lily Froby, and then Olivia Krause played some varsity last year, and she's there yet. And then I got some sophomores, like Bryn Polifka is going to be starting this year. Great shooter. She's almost made it so that I cannot put her on the floor. So she's really stepped up in a year. And then I got a couple there floating, Leah Hamas and Brez Boyer. And so that's basically what we got going on this year for our team.
How about some things that you feel this crew can do pretty well for you this year?
I think defensively, they're tenacious. We're running a few different zone half-court press defenses, and we're getting on them right away when they cross half court. Full court, they can press anywhere they want to. We're good at running the floor offensively. They're figuring things out. They're offensively, half court, they're starting to get more patience. They're starting to see the floor better. You know, it's the three with the most experience. You know, they've taken huge strides over the last year, and they're leading, and they're just so together as a team. It's really wonderful to go in that gym every day and coach them. It's just enjoyable.
You know, you mentioned lots of players there when we went through your roster. It sounds like your numbers are in pretty good shape.
Actually, you know, we just got a freshman and JV team, or not freshman team. We got a varsity and JV team, but I do have 23 girls that went out. So we have really good numbers. I got a lot of freshmen, really talented freshmen that are playing right now, and our numbers do look really good. It's good to see these girls. They're excited about basketball. They're willing to learn. I mean, our gym is, I don't know how you explain it, but it's loud. They're always cheering each other on during practice. And you know, one of my ADs walked by one day, he's like, "Did you have music on?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Couldn't hear between the girls cheering each other on through the whole thing." It's just been a great pleasure this year to coach these girls. They just want to be with each other. They enjoy each other. I said, I got juniors and seniors doing stuff afterwards with freshmen. They're taking them to basketball games, the boys' basketball games, going out for ice cream, going shopping. You know, I mean, that's how close they've all gotten in the last few weeks. They just really enjoy being with each other. It's a great thing to have.
Can you talk about some of those older players, some of those seniors, and the leadership they bring to your ball club this year?
You know, the seniors, that they haven't had a whole lot of varsity experience. You know, we went through, you know, a few years ago, when I first started, I had 7 seniors, and they all graduated. After that, I had 2 players on each class. That's why this freshman class had, you know, the junior class had to play when they were freshmen. But now the classes are a lot of classes, and the juniors have really stepped up to seniors and making sure everybody is involved. They're all, you know, it's just been one of them things this year. It's just, you just know when you get a special group that loves each other and wants to do things for each other, it just makes it fun.
You know, you and I talked a couple of years ago when you took the job the first time about that transition that you had to make from coaching the lower levels to coaching varsity basketball. Now looking back for a few years, how has that transition been for you?
It actually has been really good. It's been humbling at times. You know, I changed a lot of things that we did before. We're more up-tempo on a lot of our offense and defense. But it's been very well accepted. I realized I have to have patience, and you have to take deep breaths once in a while. And but I love coaching girls. I've coached girls and boys, and you know, girls, they're willing to learn. They want to. If you're honest with them, and they're always willing to listen to what you got to say. Sometimes I've always been real boys. They already know, and they really don't always want to learn because they already know. But the girls are very accepting and very good at what we want to do and learn.
We have Larry Hazer here for some questions and comments. Larry?
Coach, you mentioned kind of a mixed bag of upperclassmen and lowerclassmen. How challenge is that for a coach to mesh those girls?
Actually, it hasn't been that much. I mean, they all know each other really well from other sports. It's kind of shocking. It hasn't been that much of a challenge meshing them. It's been really a good experience with it.
Because I know sometimes the upperclassmen don't like to get the underclassmen in there.
And I've had that in the past. This year I don't. This year it's really good to see how putting each other, you know, helping. I've seen juniors and seniors helping freshmen. In the first week we're all together, helping with drills. Hey, this is where you go. This is what we do. You know, and building them along and cheering them along when they do good things. So it's been really good experience this year.
Yeah, because I know sometimes they don't like to accept the underclassmen.
No, they don't. But this year it's been really good. I think they all realize that they need the younger ones. If they want to get somewhere, they need the younger ones to be there with them.
Cloverbell Conference, how do you see that East?
Well, this is very simple. It's Neillsville on top. I'm not quite sure what's in the water over in Neillsville. I mean, they lost some really good players last year, but he brought in 2 freshmen, or maybe more than that, but I know 2 freshmen are probably better than the ones that he lost last year. I mean, they're amazing. John does an awesome job over there. I think the whole Cloverbell Conference goal is to be what they are. The rest, I think we're all in the mix. You know, last year we were 5 wins away from close wins. We lost 2 to Columbus in the last second. We lost to Gilman by 3 in one game. If we won 5 games, we were in second place. So we were that close. So it was really close games. And so I don't think we're far from that. But at any moment we could, it's just Loyal's always fundamentally strong. I mean, they just don't make mistakes. Gilman's the same way. Coach Weir's always got them right there. They're always really well. I've seen some of the games from Columbus, and they look really good too. Haven't seen anybody else, but I think we're all going to be competing for that, 2, 3, 4. Who ends up in there is going to be toss a card out there, I guess.
So what's going to be the keys for you guys to be that?
Us, I can tell you right now, it's limiting the turnovers. We played Abbotsford. We didn't even give ourselves a chance. We turned the ball over 47% of the time. So you can't turn the ball over that much, and we got all rebounded like crazy. But then we turned around we started taking care of the ball. So if we can take care of the ball on offense and get some rebounds, we'll be in there. 'Cause defensively, I think we can play with almost anybody. And, last year, we went to Neilsville, and we went to halftime. We were up by 6. We come out and we turned the ball over 3 times in a row, and the girls' heads were out of it, and we lost by 20. But there ain't many teams that can go into Neilsville last year and be up by 6 at halftime. We played the perfect game the first half, so I know that's what they got in them. If they play the perfect half, they don't turn over the ball, they play very aggressive deep, we can beat anybody. But I think now are mentally getting into that where they're getting confidence, and mistakes, they're starting to let mistakes, you make a mistake, let it go, figure it out, move on to the next one. We might not have been that way last year. We weren't able to just let a mistake go, and I think we're starting to learn to do that now.
People talk about Neilsville, their program over there, and I know one of the things they do over there is they start them young.
Yes.
Is that something that you guys are trying to do, or some of the other?
We have our booster club starts in 5th grade, but I know he starts younger. We do have we're past hopefully the COVID stage. We're back to doing our happy hoops, which is kindergarten on up, and where they do a dribblings on Saturday. So it's coming along. Our youth numbers, especially on the girls' side, are really doing good right now. We got a lot, and I try to go down and work with some of them. And in the summer, on Wednesday nights, I have an open gym just for my youth from 6th to 7th grade, or going, would be the year before, 5th, 6th, and 7th. So I just work with them just so they get to know me, and we do some dribbling drills, do some fun stuff, and, just kind of let them know that the varsity coach isn't as scary as he sometimes seems on the sideline. And I think that helps too.
Okay.
Coach, how about your staff for this year?
I have a new JV coach, Cass Huber. She came in this year teaching Kobe. So it's her and me, and this is what we got. She's been doing really good. My assistant last year, Laura Demper, she had a baby last year, so she's decided to focus on the family. So.
All right. Well, Coach, thanks for coming by. Good luck this year.
Well, thank you very much.
Thanks, Coach.
Colby High School girls basketball coach Terry Schmidt joining us on our girls basketball preview program from Nuts Deep 2 on South Central Avenue in Marshfield. We'll come back with more of our program following these words.
High School Sports is being brought to you courtesy. Need furniture? Come to Mall Furniture in Marshfield and get it now. We have what you want in stock. Do you need a new two-sided Wisconsin-built mattress set or adjustable bed? We have them in stock. Power lift chairs, rocker or wall recliner. How about a glider rocker or swivel rocker? We have them. Sofas, sectionals and sleepers, reclining and stationary, leather and cloth. Choose from Marshfield Furniture, Lazy Boy, and Best Home Furnishing. See our expanded Wolfcraft Maple and Oak, made in Marshfield Furniture. Bring your truck or trailer and take it with you, or have it delivered for a small fee.
Good day. My name is Ken Hyman, and welcome to Nasonville Dairy here in central Wisconsin, Marshfield, Wisconsin, as a matter of fact. We make a lot of different cheeses. We make cheddar, Colby, Monterey, Farmer's Cheese, Peach Cheese, Quesa Blanca, Quesa de Fury, Seco, Parm, Romano, Asiago, Fontina, Feta Caseri, Caflateri, Cafla Graviera, 20 different flavors of Monterey, as well as making Edam, Gouda, and Munster. And the cheese be with you.
After a couple years of a job that doesn't fit, it's time for more money. more opportunity. That is where Mid-State Technical College comes in. Would cooking be a good fit? Try on a career in welding. Perhaps the outdoors suits you better. Or maybe helping people is a better fit. No matter your path, we've got cutting-edge classes with field-trained professionals and better tuition options, making Mid-State the perfect fit.
We know how a bank should be at Partners Bank. Banking should be easier. Treating our customers as valued and important. Services should be better with online and mobile banking and locations close to where you live and work. Loans should be quicker, and we make all decisions locally with years of experience helping people with their financing needs. Partners Bank, member FDIC, and an equal housing lender.
Partners Bank, better together.
Preview program on ZaleskiSports.com, also on Sports Radio 92.3 FM, WOSQ, Spencer Marshfield, and WOSQFM.com. With Jason Zaleski and Larry Hazer, I'm Gene Delisio at Nuts Deep 2 on South Central Avenue in Marshfield for our girls basketball preview program for this year. Spencer High School has a new girls basketball coach this year. Kyle Davis takes over the Rockets program. Coach, thanks for joining us, and welcome to our program.
Oh, thank you for having me.
And tell us a bit, first of all, you're a new coach. Tell us about your background. What brings you to the Spencer coaching position?
Yeah, I'm the new coach at Spencer. I was the JV coach last year. My kids actually transferred from Marshfield to Spencer last year, and they happened to have a coaching turnover, so I got offered the JV position, took it. This year, we had the varsity coach step down, so I accepted that position. So that's what brought me to Spencer. I've got kids here, so I plan to stay for quite a while.
And how about your basketball background?
I've been coaching pretty much for about 10 years throughout a lot of the traveling programs through Marshfield. That's where I've been brought up. Last year would have been my first high school career coaching job at JV. Before that was a lot of 7th and 8th grade travel ball, AAU, things of that nature. So fairly new to the high school game.
Well, sounds like it, but it looks like you're doing a good job at Spencer so far. Tell us about the transition and the steps you've taken to get involved with the program and become the head coach this year.
Yeah, so the big transition is Spencer hasn't had a lot with the youth. There's a really good booster program, 4th, 5th, 6th grade, but not much for 7th and 8th grade. So we started travel ball for 7th and 8th grade. I'm very involved with that, run that. And then we opened up open gyms this summer, which hasn't really been a big thing in the past. We had open gyms 3 times a week, things of that nature for the kids to get in the gym. So just getting the kids here more involved in playing, that's the biggest thing here. So we've played more this summer than they have in the past, probably a couple years combined. So that's the transition we've made.
All right. Tell us the steps you took to get involved with the program in terms of knowing the girls this year as a JV coach. I'm sure that was helpful. So tell us about how you got involved in being the varsity coach this year and the steps you took to really acquaint yourself with the program.
Yeah, so I was lucky enough. We did not have very much turnover this year. We only lost 2 seniors, so I know most of the kids from being in the JV program, and I was the assistant varsity coach last year. So I know everybody. I attended a lot of the 7th and 8th grade games last year, so I got to know some of the incoming freshmen this year. And then getting them in the gym is how they got to know me this summer. So that's how I got to know them.
Okay, tell us about some of these young ladies on your team and where their roles for this year.
Yeah, so we are returning some experience from last year, but we are still a very young team. We only have 2 returning seniors this year in Claudia Kraus and AJ Milsna. We do have a new senior that is starting to play this year in Hannah Reckner. Otherwise, we returned some of the starters from last year. Autumn Davis is a sophomore. Montana Coles is a junior. Hannah Schreiner is a junior. Emma Schultz is going to be a new starter. She's a sophomore. So we return a lot of youth. The experience, though, started with the rebuild last year. I think we returned 65 career points last year. So that's where we started the rebuild, and it continues this year.
When you have a group like that that's pretty inexperienced, what steps do you take to really get them involved in varsity basketball and mold them the way you'd like them to?
Yeah, so molding them the way I want, that's a great thing. I'm actually the third head coach here in 3 years. So most of the girls, if they've been on varsity or JV, have not had the same coach ever. So that's kind of a problem. This first real month of practice is teaching the kids kind of the way I want to play basketball, which starts with defense. You know, we want to play a transition game, and that hasn't really been a thing in the past. So trying to get the kids to play faster, be conditioned. I know that they have told me plenty of times that they have ran more in the first 3 weeks than they have ran in seasons before. So that's the steps we're taking. It's going to be a process. You know, it's probably not going to be a 1-year thing. It's going to be a 2, 3, 4-year plan with turning the program the way I want it.
I'm not very good on math, but I think if I go back, you're also the 4th coach in 5 years.
I believe it's 4 and 6, but yes,
4 and 6,
it's
4 and 6?
Crystal Wire was here for 3 years.
3. I had it for 2, but I guess you're right. 3.
Yeah, so 4 and 6.
So how does that take a toll on a program to have that much turn? Not so much only on the players who are there right now, but the overall program when there's so much turnover.
Well, I've heard other coaches talk, and we all talk about the youth. You know, a head coach usually comes in and starts with the youth and builds the program the way they want it. And with so much turnover, that youth program can't do the offense that we want to do or the defense. So it's been constant change. I can see it with the 7th and 8th graders as well. They don't have the concepts that I want to use. You know, they've had turnover at that age too. So it's a problem. So that's why I'm hoping to stay here long term. That's the goal. Build from the ground up, like everybody talks about. So
any players stand out for you so far this year?
A lot of them. We actually have a lot of talent. We just need to put that all together. Our seniors are going to be our leaders. Claudia Kraus has been here. She'll be playing varsity. This will be her 3rd year. She's going to be a key piece. AJ Milsna is a defensive stopper for us, so she's going to be big. Autumn Davis is back. She runs the point for us. She's going to be big. And then, a lot of the other kids were role players last year, and some of the JV kids that have stepped up. So we have some experience coming back.
I see Autumn had at least one big night scoring for you last week, 25, 28 points in one ball game, something like that. What's it like to have a point guard who can also score the way she does?
It can be beneficial and it can hurt us. We like to have a point guard that can create, and she can create. But she can also score. I'd actually prefer her to score less and create more for other players. So some of the kids aren't super willing to shoot at the moment, and that's what we're trying to build. We're trying to build confidence in having an 8-9 player roster that is looking to score at all times, not just 2-3 kids. That's what we're looking for.
Larry, any questions or comments you have for Coach Davis?
Well, you mentioned the fact that you're coming up through the program, trying to rebuild it. But it's got to be nice to have these kids that have been in the program for several years with the experience, varsity experience, a little bit at least.
Yeah. A person like Claudia Kraus being in the program for 3 years, that's very helpful. A lot of the other kids before last year were pretty much in JV roles. But only losing 2 seniors last year and returning everybody else has been huge. They've helped some of the younger kids along the way as well.
Are they buying into your philosophy?
Yeah, I will say the first 2 weeks they didn't enjoy it. Like I said, it was a lot of running, but now that we're 4 weeks in, something like that, they're starting to enjoy it a little more. The pain and the shin splints are going away. So, they're buying in now. Yep.
Eastern Cloverbelt Conference. I know everybody's talking Neillsville. What about Spencer? I mean,
I would say
what's your goal for this year?
I would say we're on the rise. We have expectations, but we take it game by game. We know that last year was pretty rough. I think our record was 3-21. We don't have a set win total in mind. We're just going to take every game by game, and hope to win that one and move on and just see where the season takes us.
All right, Gene?
How about your staff for this year, Coach?
I'm the new varsity coach, and then we have a new JV coach in Mike Pankratz. He coached the 7th and 8th grade boys at Spencer last year, and he's got a 10-plus year history in coaching in 7th and 8th grade and things of that nature. So him and I get along well. We fit well. We have the same style. So we should be able to push things in the right direction.
And I guess we should ask you, how about your experience playing in the Dome? What's that like to have a team that plays in that Dome facility?
The Dome is very nice. Playing games there, that's fun. You've got the student section right underneath the basket. That's nice. Practice can be a little bit of a challenge. It's very echoey when it's empty, but the playing atmosphere, it's very nice. I don't think there's any other school with a student section right underneath the basket, so it's helpful. It's very helpful.
Have you found this an advantage to you at all, playing in there?
It can be when the kids get loud. That's helpful. When the kids get into the game and the students are cheering, it can be helpful, especially on the free throw line.
Okay. Well, Coach, thanks for coming by, and good luck this season.
Thank you for having me.
That's Spencer High School basketball coach Kyle Davis joining us on the girls basketball preview program from Nuts Deep 2 on South Central Avenue in Marshfield. We'll return with more of our program following these messages.
Scotty's Pizza and Chicken, how can I help you?
Scotty's Pizza and Chicken has been voted best pizza in Marshfield 15 years in a row. Scotty's Pizza and Chicken is ready for your call now at 715-384-8118. Choose Drunken Chicken, BLT, Western, Mac and Cheese, Sweet Chili Chicken, and more. Plus, Scotty's has roasted chicken, fish, sandwiches, salads, and desserts. Scotty's Pizza and Chicken, 715-384-8118 and Scotty'sPizza.com.
Scotty's Pizza and Chicken, how can I help you?
Hey everybody, it's Ned over at Wheeler Chevrolet GMC, and November is Red Tag Sales Event, which means an extra $500 savings on select models, Equinox, Blazers, and Silverados. Stop on in and talk to a sales consultant today.
Culligan Water delivers. From your first call, to your first sip, to your first soak. Culligan, give us a tap. The only water that comes with a van.
Witness the difference of a Catholic education at Columbus Catholic Schools.
I think everyone should just know what makes this place special.
Come and see. That's just what the Lord always said, and put your toe in the water. They are great schools, and it's a good fit. I'd always want them to come and to just feel the goodness and the family atmosphere.
I invite everyone just to come in and see what it's about and to see if it might be right for them and their family.
We invite you to schedule a tour today.
You know better when you see it.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
But sometimes it's a little harder to tell what better looks like, and you could use a little help.
Thanks, Mom.
Security Health Plan. Everything you need in a health plan. Everything you'd expect from a good neighbor.
Girls basketball preview program tonight from Nuts Deep 2 on South Central Avenue in Marshfield with Jason Zaleski and Larry Hazer. I'm Gene Delisio. We are right now kind of between guests. We do have more guests coming in to talk about their girls basketball program, but we have a bit of a gap here, so let's bring in Larry and Jason and talk about some girls basketball and some expectations or hopes we have for the coming season.
Well, I know that everybody's talking Neillsville, and probably the class of the Eastern Clover Belt, but they are going to be moving into a different sectional this year with Cuba City. I believe Mineral Point is in that sectional. So it's going to be a little different for them when it comes state time instead of going north like they were.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Larry, and I'm glad that you brought it up because as enrollments continue to really fluctuate over the last 15 years or so, those cut lines continue to move. Yeah. And as they do, those boundaries in each division can move with them or move to accommodate the number of teams that you need in those sections. And so it wouldn't be surprising at all to me for the next few years for those lines to continue to move as those division cut lines continue to move, as enrollments continue to fluctuate, especially in the northern third to northern half of the state where school enrollments are. They are consistently declining, and there would be more changes in the playoffs to come. But in this year in particular, it's true for Neillsville, and I suppose true of just about anybody else, where come playoff time, You got to beat the team that's out on the floor in front of you.
Yeah.
And you use that. We've talked to these coaches here tonight. We've talked about their non-conference schedule. We've talked about their conference affiliations. And it in kind of a simplistic way, those 24 games are all in preparation for that playoff game. And then you hit the road and you play whoever's in front of you in that playoff game. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun this year watching some of these teams develop. We have only a couple of teams, several teams that are ranked going into the season. So we have some promise of some good ball clubs this year.
That Marshfield team looks like they might be. We're going to be talking with
Taylor
Varsho
Taylor's coming up at the bottom of the hour, and we'll certainly talk to her about it.
But they look like they're a up-and-coming team.
Yeah, Marshall's got a good group of seniors, and you guys have been around basketball long enough that you know when there's a group of seniors that are coming that have played for some length of time in high school, and then they reach that senior plateau or that climax as a group. That's when a team can really be dangerous. And that Marshfield Ball Club this year, the girls team, has a lot of scoring in those seniors. They've got a scholarship basketball player along with it, and really good complementary pieces all the way around. And in Taylor's first year, she was Coach of the Year, won conference championship. So the coaching is there, and this year it looks like the players might be there too for Marshfield.
Yeah,
good depth on that ball club. Maybe a little bit undersized. But not so much. That's become such a change in basketball over the years that doesn't mean a whole lot anymore.
No.
If you're just 5'8", 5'9", but you can shoot the ball and play on the outside and dribble past somebody, it still makes you very effective. So the lack of size, although they're a nice overall size team, but that lack does not really hurt them the way it might maybe 10, 15 years ago.
Do we still see the big chain? Like Division I? Are they bigger, taller girls?
Well, for the most part, yeah, they are, but that does not mean they're, back to the basket post players.
Right.
I know
you don't see post much anymore.
No, that's what's left, and to your point, Gene, that's what's changed, especially in the girls' game over the last 15 years, is get turnovers, get in transition, and then it's layups and threes. The analytics say if you can't shoot a layup, if you're in transition, you're not able to get a layup, then you kick it back out, you work the ball around, you find an open three-pointer. It's threes and layups, and these girls' teams, even around here, that's what they've done.
Mm-hmm. The highest percentage and the lowest percentage shot.
Yeah, they say it all makes up. There are coaches out there that cringe when somebody shoots a mid-range jumper or calls for it in the post. They can't stand it, and it's threes and layups.
The mid-range jumper is gone.
Yeah, you wonder if she was at a bigger school where a player like Jen Wendler would fit in.
Yeah.
Now, in the Eastern Clover Belt with small schools, who can defend her, really? But had she played in the Valley, they may have run her off the floor because they get down the floor so quickly.
Yeah. Little different thing.
Another team that we've heard a little bit about tonight, it's come up, even though that they're not here, are the Assumption Royals. I know we heard from Stratford, and we may have heard from somebody else about that. We've got them ranked number 3 in our poll. The coaches have them ranked number 1, and they'll play Neillsville. It's been an ongoing series between Assumption and Neillsville girls basketball over the last number of years. Neillsville has won every game of that series. Yet in the Merriwood play, the Assumption Royals are so hard to beat because they cause those turnovers in their full court press, and then it's almost always a layup. They hardly ever even shoot threes, and yet they scored 86 points the other night on layups and turnovers. And that's the type of ball club they are. They're going to want to pressure you, turn you over, and it's interesting how they match up against a bigger team like Stratford, a bigger school. Mm-hmm. Assumption may be the smallest school in that Merriwood South, and the biggest school is obviously Stratford, yet the way that they're able to turn the ball over and then get down the floor quickly and get to that layup is really quite stunning. And we've heard about them tonight, and so the coaches have the Royals ranked number 1 in girls basketball in Division 5.
They mirror Neillsville a little bit.
It's the same philosophy, isn't it?
Defense, full court,
layups,
layups.
and then layups and threes.
Yeah, and so many good teams do it that way.
Yeah,
defense starts first.
Yep.
And we've seen so many good teams play that way over the past.
The other thing I was talking with the Stratford coach was the early and late doubleheaders that they're going to now. Have you seen more of that? I haven't really seen it around our area, but
the Valley does it too. You'll get answers. Well, it's busing, it's officials, it's this or it's that. Nobody. I've never got a straight answer on the why. It is though an opportunity for the fans in the district and the families in the district to go take in 2 games in the same gym all in one night. It can kind of be a nice family outing in that way. And that's the way I would think of it if I was in that spot. But, yeah, that's become kind of a trend around here. The Valley teams do it. And I know, Gene, you've been to a number of boys-girls doubleheaders in the Valley.
Well, in the Valley, it's a bit different. The Wausau schools do it amongst themselves, East, West, Everest. I'm not sure Merrill does. They may. But they do it with them. And then down here, it's been Marshfield, Rapids, Point do it amongst themselves.
No.
So it's not like Marshfield at DC Everest for a doubleheader.
Oh, okay.
We don't get that. We get Marshfield, Rapids, Marshfield, Point. And even then, that's scaled back. Now, we'll play Marshfield Rapids doubleheader next Friday night. But I think the return in Rapids is 2 separate nights over there. And then Point, I'm not sure if that's 2 doubleheaders or 1 doubleheader and 2 separate nights. In this area, we kind of got away from it a little bit.
Okay.
Between Marshfield, Point, and Rapids. And I don't know Marshfield's done that with anybody else in the Valley. I think I have a dim memory years ago of them doing it against Wausau West, like in the 90s, for some scheduling problem. But beyond that, we've not gone beyond Marshfield, Point, and Rapids, and I don't think it's for every matchup. I think it's only for one with Rapids, and the other games are separate nights.
Yeah, in the Merriwood, it's become a real constant over the last 10 years. And like I said, if it was me, I would take advantage of it, and I would take my family for a nice night out.
Yeah.
And get to take in two varsity basketball games without having that pesky JV in the way. And go and enjoy myself. And in one gym at one time, I know Assumption and Phillips have that doubleheader also on Friday. And on the girls' side, those are Assumption looks like they're the top team in the Merriwood South, and Phillips sure has a shot at being that top dog in the Merriwood North. And so if you're in the neighborhood and you'd like to take in a girls' basketball game or even the girls-boys doubleheader, that's coming up on Friday.
I know the thing you used to do in the Valley Conference too was the boys played at home and the girls played on the road the same night.
Usually we do, yeah.
Yeah, that's
still.
They still do that?
Yeah,
okay.
usually.
Okay. Yeah, that's.
Yeah,
I never liked that.
You got to split up the family that way.
Yeah, especially if you got a daughter and a boy that play.
Well, that was a problem. That was many people concerned about that. Sure.
Yeah.
Some people did not like that.
No.
So we're seeing some changes, and the girls' game certainly has changed quite a bit over the years. It's been more mimicking the boys' game of the three-point shot and the drive and shoot, things like that. And some of these players that we thought of 10, 15, 20 years ago as great players may be obsolete today.
I know that the biggest thing that I see in girls basketball is you got to play defense.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, if you don't play defense, I don't think you can score points and points, but I don't know, defense just seems to be, over the years, what I've seen has been the big rule for girls basketball.
Create turnovers, get easy chances, and that's what it's all about. And I think if you think of it, in girls or boys, but we're talking about the girls basketball game here, if you can teach a teenage girl, in this case, one thing, you can teach that young girl how to go get after the ball, how to, the ball's inbounded. Now we flow here, we rotate here, and I think it's a fairly easy concept to teach. And then the layups. I mean, we talked to all these coaches about youth programs, and we're shooting layups in the youth programs, and so a turnover leads to a layup, and it's something I think that a high school student athlete can catch on to pretty quickly.
And I know one of the other things too is the varsity coaches going down to those lower levels, and like one of the coaches mentioned, he doesn't look as scary then if he's down there, with the 7th and 8th grade or even the 4th and 5th grade, and building that program from down there up, and not having a separate thing here. You get into junior high and it's a separate thing, and then you get into high school and it's a separate thing. And
yeah, well, because where that's really helpful for me is mom or dad can go help you in the driveway when you're in 6th or 7th grade, because you know what the expectations are coming up. So you can get that help at home if it's a consistent program all the way through. And if you look at the successful girls teams statewide or maybe even nationwide, it's the same philosophy from 3rd grade all the way on up.
I recall one school we had in the area not long ago where there was a complaint because the junior high coaches would not run the varsity program. And so they're running something completely different. And the varsity coach would go down there and say, "Hey, can you run this?" Well, no, I can't win with my kids with what you've got. So I'm going to run my stuff, and if you don't like it, too bad.
That's pretty gutsy for the junior high coach.
I'd say they were short-lived if that was the case.
No, they weren't short-lived. They were there for a long time. And
Wow.
And the school never stepped in and changed anything. So, and I know all the coaches were quite frustrated by that because we're running something completely different, and they come to varsity, they don't know what we're doing.
So were they successful in the varsity level?
No.
Yeah, of course not.
Very simply, no.
Yeah. I want to talk about a coach that was up here in his program. That was Coach Jason Knott from the Pittsville Panthers. I saw those girls play volleyball this year, and what struck me right away was that they were such an athletic group. They had probably, according to their standards, probably an early exit in the volleyball playoffs, but I look at that CWC South, and Pacelli has kind of been that team on the girls' side for a while. Others, have kind of mixed in there a little bit, whether that be Wild Rose or Tri-County or what have you. But Pacelli's kind of been a constant in that way. If you're looking for a fun night out, and Pittsville's not that far away from you, I totally recommend watching that girls' basketball team. I think there's something special going on there. Those girls. They're intense. They got a lot of energy. They're having fun, and they're just a great group of athletes. And they really perform well on the basketball floor. And you may have heard that from Jason Knott as he was up here talking. He's very confident about his team, and I think he should be.
And you look back at Pittsville basketball, and it's been a long time coming for the Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they went to state under Mark Denniston, about 2009, I think it was, somewhere like that. And then the bottom just fell out. And every year was 2 wins, 3 wins, 4 wins, with a series of coaches, all of whom had good credentials, did the best they could. But the success just was not there for a long, long time under several coaches. And now finally, the last couple of years, they're kind of putting it back together again. And when I remember when Pittsville first left the Marywood and went to the CWC, and I asked people from Pittsville, what's the reasoning behind this? And a lot of that was because, our girls just can't compete in the Marywood. It was mainly a girls' thing. The girls couldn't compete in the Marywood, and maybe they'll compete better in the CWC. And there were other issues, the travel situations, you're driving to Prentice and Park Falls for a ball game, which is understandable.
Yeah.
But a lot of it was because the girls just could not compete, and they were not competitive for a long time. But the last few years, the Pittsville girls now playing better, compiling better records, looking better, and so that's been a real plus for Pittsville in the last couple of seasons.
I've seen that, too, over the years, teams moving out of conferences because they can't compete with the teams that are in there. I think Osseo Fairchild's leaving the Clover Belt after this year.
And the way that Neilsville runs, girls program runs roughshod over the rest of the Clover Belt, I'm surprised that the whole conference hasn't dropped out. It has been really one-sided over the last 20 years. Colby had a really nice run in 2018 and 19.
Then Loyal had a couple of years.
And Loyal had a state championship a couple of 2017 or 18, whatever it may have been. But besides that, it's been the Neilsville Warriors. And we're going to talk to Coach John Geyer coming up here later on this evening. And I think we owe it to him to find out why it's been like that, and I think he'll tell us. But I think a lot of those teams probably wish they weren't in that Clover Belt Conference.
Now, you can only play where you're signed.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'd want to change conferences just because of one sport. Probably more.
Right.
And we remember when Osseo Fairchild was pretty good in a lot of sports.
Yeah.
They've been down the last couple of years in a number of sports.
I don't think it's girls basketball that they're changing for, but they want to go to the Dairyland Conference, so.
Well, who doesn't?
Well, closer. I know it might be a travel thing for them too. I don't know.
Well, it was for Augusta when they went back.
Right.
When they left the Clover Belt, so they have the same situation.
Because I know right now in the Clover Belt for football, I think Neilsville's the farthest to the east.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else is west now for football. But
talked about the Marywood South, or that's been brought up. Girls and boys, but again, we're here in this girls preview show. Still remains a true story, I believe, that the Marywood South, and you can maybe even include the entire Marywood, the best small school conference in the entire state from top to bottom. Through the years, those teams have all been able to challenge for conference championships, and the conference championships have not been one-sided, and that's because the depth of that conference. And the girls' side, it's the same thing, where
all those teams are really good. They're really tough to beat, and they beat up on each other all season long. And I think from top to bottom, that's the best basketball conference in the entire state. It's for a small school conference, that's the best one.
Yeah, I think you're
Well,
right.
it's a good one. There's some very strong ball clubs in that league. Now, Stratford might be a bit down this year for girls, and of course, Assumption's in a Neelsville position because they're beating people, left and right. But top to bottom, it's a very strong conference.
Yeah, over the years, recent memory, Newman has battled with Assumption, and Edgar has made some noise. Auburndale girls always have a strong program, and you roll the ball out there in the Merriwood, and it's going to be a big battle.
What about Marathon? We didn't get to see their coach.
Yeah, so Jeff Schneider had a scheduling conflict. I'll actually sit down with him one-on-one later on. A rebuilding year for Marathon this year. But through the years, that's been a team you've had to reckon with. They're going to be they look to be a little bit down this year. They've had some struggles already. But Jeff Schneider's a good basketball coach, and I wouldn't be surprised by the end of the year if he's got it turned around. They've got a doubleheader, girls boys doubleheader on Friday as well. Shawamigan comes to town to take on Marathon, and if you're looking again for a good girls and boys matchup, you get to see some fun basketball in the girls game. Two teams that are still figuring it out on the year, but you figure they'll be evenly matched at least on the scoreboard. And then on the boys' side, another big game there on Friday night in Marathon.
Yeah, just done a good job there in Marathon. Been there for a number of years. Did a great job and has done wonders for that program. And, of course, they had a great success with Bill Knetter and then Larry Buckberger for a couple of years as well. But it's always been a very strong program. This is down as they've been for a while, but they could be back up in the season.
I hope so. It's more fun when they're good than when they're not.
Yes, indeed.
Well, we should have Taylor Varsho coming up soon. Maybe we'll step aside for a couple minutes, Gene.
Okay, our girls basketball preview program this evening from Nuts Deep 2 on South Central Avenue in Marshfield. We'll come back with more of our program in just a moment.
The Sports Den, located on Marshfield's sunny south side since 1975. The Sports Den has the area's best selection of outdoor equipment. Find top brands of snowshoes, cross-country and downhill skis, snowboards, swimming equipment, skateboards, and more. The Sports Den has a full-service bike repair center along with top bike brands Specialized, Trek, and others. The Sports Den is Central Wisconsin's Fat Bike headquarters. Visit the Sports Den in Marshfield Monday through Saturday and thesportsden.net.
Bauer & Feind has been based in Marshfield since 1955. And if you're in business that long, you're obviously doing many things right. We always focus on selling world-class products, backing it up with world-class customer support.
Working with Bauer & Feind Business Technologies has been a pleasure. We have staff on call that we can call if we ever have issues, and the printer usability has been really easy, user-friendly.
Give us a call, visit our website. We'd be happy to come in, talk to you. Maybe there's a way we can help you save some money and work more efficiently.
Central Wisconsin Glass is Central Wisconsin's choice for your next new or remodeled shower and bathroom. The experts at Central Wisconsin Glass will effortlessly guide you through the design and installation process. Have the elegant and modern shower and bathroom you've been looking for. Call Central Wisconsin Glass at 715-387-8010. That's 715-387-8010. And Central Wisconsin Glass on Facebook for your residential, commercial, and vehicle glass needs.
Winter's coming fast, which means it's time to hit the trails. Bill's Service Center has all things you need to stay warm and dry on the trails this winter. With a full selection of jackets, bibs, helmets, boots, casual wear. And don't forget that Bill's is your chainsaw safety gear headquarters. Bill's Service Center is your one-stop connection for all your cold weather riding gear.
Don't freeze your jingle bells off. Get your cold weather riding gear at Bill's Service Center. Bill's Service Center, where the adventure begins.
On WOSQ FM with Larry Hazer and Jason Zaleski. I'm Gene Delicia. Let's take a moment to run through the schedule for tomorrow and Friday. Girls basketball on Thursday evening. Thorpe at Loyal, Pacelli at Greenwood, DC Everest at Mosinee. Gilman plays at Cornell. That's a doubleheader starting at 5:45. St. Croix Central at Stanley Boyd. Lake Holcomb at Cadott. Flambeau at Rib Lake. Bayfield plays at Phillips. Nakusa at Northland Lutheran. Florence at Merrill. And McDonald at Medford in girls basketball on Thursday. Boys basketball on Thursday. The Columbus Dons in Chippewa Falls to take on the McDonald Max. Good matchup there. Game time is 7:15. Northland Lutheran plays at Spencer on Thursday evening. Stanley Boyd at Colby. Rib Lake at Edgar. Abbotsford at Owen Withee. Athens at Newman. Gilman at Cornell. Lake Holcomb at Cadott. Prentice at Butternut. Eau Claire North at Wisconsin Rapids. Chippewa Falls at Stevens Point. That's the boys and girls schedule for Thursday. On Friday evening, in boys basketball, the Marshfield Tigers face Holman at the Frederick Construction Fieldhouse in Marshfield. Game time 7:15. That broadcast 7 p.m. Friday evening on 92.3 FM WOSQ and also on ZaleskiSports.com. Other non-conference boys games on Friday: Pittsville at Rib Lake, Loyal at Thorpe, Neilsville at Durand, Arkansas. You going to broadcast that game, Larry?
That will be on 92.7 WPKG. Should be interesting.
You went to Durand or Arkansas? Don't get lost over there.
Don't get lost, yeah. Well, I think if I go to Arkansas, it won't take long to get through.
Neilsville at Durand, Arkansas, 7 p.m. on Friday evening on 92.7 FM WPKG. Also Friday night boys basketball, Eau Claire Memorial at DC Everest, Merrill at Mosinee. Boys basketball in the Merriwood on Friday night, Abbotsford at Auburndale, Prentice at Stratford, Shawamigan at Marathon, Phillips at Assumption. In the Great Northern on Friday night, Lakeland plays at Medford, Antigo at Rhinelander, Tomahawk at Northland Pines. On the girls basketball schedule for Friday evening, Marshfield Tigers at La Crosse Central, Pittsville at Rosholt, New London plays at Wisconsin Rapids, Holman at Stevens Point, Northland Lutheran is at Gresham. In the Merriwood Conference on Friday in girls basketball, Abbotsford at Auburndale, Prentice at Stratford, Rib Lake at Edgar, Athens at Newman, Shawamigan at Marathon, Phillips at Assumption. And girls basketball on Friday in the Great Northern Conference, Medford at Lakeland, Antigo at Rhinelander, and Northland Pines is at Tomahawk. I want to mention also that there's a big girls basketball event taking place Saturday in Colfax. It's that annual conference matchup between the Western Clover Belt and that other conference out there. You don't know what I'm talking about. It's but the Western Clover Belt and the conference out there by Colfax, they get together and they play a series of games on Saturday, starting at 8:30 Saturday morning. Stanley Boyd in Boyceville, and at 10:15 Thorpe plays Elmwood. 5:15 Cadott takes on Elk Mound, all at Colfax on Saturday. So a big day if you're really looking for something to do. Big day of girls basketball at Colfax on Saturday. Enjoying our girls basketball preview program tonight from Nuts Deep 2 on South Central Avenue in Marshfield. We'll come back with Marshfield Tiger basketball coach Taylor Varsho in just a moment.
High school sports.
Scotty's Pizza and Chicken, how can I help you?
Scotty's Pizza and Chicken has been voted best pizza in Marshfield 15 years in a row. Scotty's Pizza and Chicken is ready for your call now at 715-384-8118. Choose Drunken Chicken, BLT, Western, Mac and Cheese, Sweet Chili Chicken, and more. Plus, Scotty's has roasted chicken, fish, sandwiches, salads, and desserts. Scotty's Pizza and Chicken, 715-384-8118 and Scotty'sPizza.com.
Scotty's Pizza and Chicken, how can I help you?
Hey everybody, it's Ned over at Wheeler Chevrolet GMC, and November is Red Tag Sales Event, which means an extra $500 savings on select models, Equinox, Blazers, and Silverados. Stop on in and talk to a sales consultant today.
Culligan Water delivers. From your first call, to your first sip, to your first soak. Culligan, give us a tap. The only water that comes with a van.
After a couple years of a job that doesn't fit, it's time for more money, more opportunity. That is where Mid-State Technical College comes in. Would cooking be a good fit? Try on a career in welding. Perhaps the outdoors suits you better. Or maybe helping people is a better fit. No matter your path, we've got cutting-edge classes with field-trained professionals and better tuition options, making Mid-State the perfect fit.
should be at Partners Bank. Banking should be easier, treating our customers as valued and important. Services should be better with online and mobile banking and locations close to where you live and work. Loans should be quicker, and we make all decisions locally with years of experience helping people with their financing needs. Partners Bank, member FDIC, and an equal housing lender.
Partners Bank, better together.
Our show. Taylor, thanks for coming by. Welcome to our program for this evening.
Thank you.
And let's talk about the start of your season. Another win last night for the Tiger girls. Your assessment of the first few games this year.
Yeah, I think, having 4 returners back this year, losing Danny, for this year. But, these girls have been with me since I've taken over the program, and it's kind of been, a progression. Coaches, came into my program and have left, new coaching staff. But I truly believe this year, we added Lindsey Johnson to our program this year and Michaela Scheuer, who also played at a very high level outside of high school. So, our team this year is not very new for the starting lineup, but also some very new faces that have first varsity minutes, I should say, as juniors and some sophomores as well.
We quite often we talk to area coaches about, boy, you lost 9 players or 11 players from last year and a lot of new faces on your ball club. What's that like? But for you as a coach, when the new faces are on your staff, what's that like for a coach to accommodate new staff members on your staff?
Yeah, I think just having different ideas, as a coach, I'm always learning. Coach Scheuer is on my staff, who's been a boys coach, been a girls coach. But Coach Scheuer and I are very much alike, and sometimes is a good thing, and sometimes, just hearing other perspectives. Lindsey Johnson came from Menominee, who has a great program, has a state appearance as well. And, at the end of the day, that's your big goal. So having that perspective as well, she was a assist rebounder, so not in that scoring category. She really had a knack for around the rim, but really incorporating that into our program has really been a huge asset for us this year.
Well, what do you think of the first few ball games for the Tigers this year?
Yeah, we're 2-1, and have a good start against Eau Claire North. I thought we handled their pressure well. We shot the ball well. Obviously, our second game against Neenah, we hung with the number 1 team in the state. Obviously, have number 1 recruit going to UConn on their ball club. So, I thought we did really well. Second half, there was about a 7-minute span, the last 7 minutes, where probably didn't play our best basketball. But I thought overall, collectively as a group, I'd love to have Neenah again and give them our best shot. So, obviously, coming off a win last night with Baraboo, they played 2-3 zone. I didn't shoot the ball very well, I guess you could say, but just made enough points to surpass them.
And you mentioned a lot of players back for your ball club this year. Tell us about those young ladies and where they fitted for you.
Yeah, I have a group of 5 seniors that, again, have stuck together, coming out. Kaylee Sharon, Rayla Schuler, Mayana Bossum, Emma Delaney, and Ashley Gering-Korvitz. So it's great to see the work that we've put in on our off season from the summer to the fall. And you couldn't ask for a better group of girls that, not only the senior class, but collectively the 16 of us that are on that varsity squad, they get along outside and on the court. Last night, you'll see if you watched our game, the sharing of the basketball has been a big concept and something that we've been emphasizing in practice. It's not always about the points. As a point guard, sometimes, yes, you want to get to the rim, but you're also in charge of feeding, our shooters the ball. Who do we want to shoot the ball? Not everybody, at the varsity level gets the amount of shots that they probably want, but it also goes back to how much time you've put into, the game outside of the season or when the coach is asking you to be there. So, everybody's got their role. That's what makes basketball, for me, fun to coach, and trying to, meet their roles, but also having some of those crucial conversations with those kids. Because when you get in the workforce and those life skills, you're not going to maybe necessarily like every role you have. So, really teaching them those life skills but also winning basketball games.
We talked when Ayana signed her scholarship about her desire to have the basketball and be the person who can take a big shot. And I don't mean that in a negative way.
Yeah.
You know, as you mentioned, kids want to take shots, but not everybody wants to take the big shot, and she does. What does that pressure take off the rest of the ball club when she wants to fill that role?
Yeah, you know, I think Ayanna, you know, I've worked with her since she's been in middle school. You know, she's a neat kid, quiet leader, but also, you know, really can shoot the ball. And I think, you know, when we practice, we put those kids in those simulations of you're down by 2 points and you need a shot. You know, how do you decipher that? You know, the only way you can mock that up is to practice it. So, you know, we have situation cards that we pull out every week, and it's been nice to kind of let the girls figure out, hey, what are we running? You know, not always from a coach. I might not have a timeout. So really putting them in those situations in practice. But I think Ayanna has taken on that role extremely well. You know, she's making progress every day. You know, she is a kid that we're probably one of the hardest on, you know, going D2 scholarship kid. You know, you want to get every ounce out of her that we can here with our time left. So, you know, she probably, you know, we watch film, we really dive deep into what we can get better in, but she's a kid that I think she's going to do great things at the next level.
You and I have talked the last couple of years about the offensive improvement shown by Ashley Grant-Corvitz, and I want to ask, not about Ashley, but have you seen now the last offseason going into this year, that same progression from Zeta Kolbeck? Because it looks like she's literally looking for her shots and making more shots coming into this season.
Yeah, I think it goes back to the confidence piece. You know, when the coaches have confidence in kids, that's great. You know, when your teammates have confidence in you as a shooter, that's great. But it also reflects back on you as an individual. If you don't have confidence in shooting the ball, that's when sometimes it doesn't always go your way, whether it's in games or practice. But you know, you got to trust the process. You got to trust that the amount of shots you put in during the off season. And I'll be honest, my expectations for my girls in the off season, in the summer, and in the fall are very high. I set my standards high. I really want them in the gym as much time as we possibly can with them, because your 4 years goes by really fast, and before you know it, you're graduated and you're on to the next. So, you know, Zeta and Ashley, you know, I think of a kid like Ashley. She can't wait to get in the gym. She can't wait to wake up at 6:30 in the morning and shoot, whether it's with me, whether it's off the gun, whether it's by herself. You know, every day she's like, what time are you going to be here tomorrow morning? You know, so, you know, it is a long grind season, but it also, the progress that she has made only as a freshman coming into now a senior is just phenomenal. And my hope as a coach is someone takes a chance on her to play at the next level.
How much do you teach a young lady like Zeta about going to the basket? Now, as a coach, and you see your 5'4" point guard driving hard to the basket, that's got to be a bit unnerving. But is that something you talk with her about, and how to get to the basket rather than shoot the outside shot?
Yeah, you know, we just actually talked about it today. You know, even if your shots aren't falling on the outside, there's so much more of the game you can do. You can drive to the hoop. You can post up. Sometimes, you know, in college we always said, sometimes your little guards are sometimes your best post because nobody wants to defend that low. You know, so when Zeta goes and posts up, or Ashley goes and posts up, or, you know, how to decipher whether it's a good shot versus an okay shot, you know, Zeta's worked really hard on whether she should be passing or taking that shot herself. But she's really good off of 2 feet, and, you know, it's really all depends on the situation. You know, is the defense going to collapse, whether the shooter's in the corner? You know, are you passing to a shooter, or are you know, driving all the way to the lane? So she's gotten a lot better at that, and as we all know, you know, as a freshman, she came into our program and was our starter at that time. So, you know, I feel like not having Danny this year has been a little bit of an adjustment for her, but also, you know, different roles, and it is okay to score 20 points. You know, it is okay to score that amount of points in a game, and don't be shocked when you see that on the scoreboard or in the scorebook. You know, so sometimes I think it goes back to that confidence, like, I want to be the best player on the floor every single night. You know, that's the mentality, and I'm trying to instill that in some of them. Some of them have it, but just trying to keep instilling that every day.
Okay, let's bring in Larry Hazer for some question and comments. Larry?
Thank you, Gene. You had Nina earlier in the season, top-ranked team, and you have some other pretty good teams on your schedule, too. Some teams, they shy away from scheduling some of those big games, but obviously you're not.
Yeah, you know, I think, Our conference will be good this year, but when we get to the 17 team sectional, you want to play the best of the best. We are preparing for that first playoff game every single day, whether it's practice, whether it's a game, and we want to play Neenah. We want to play the Kimberleys. We want to play the Hortonvilles, on our schedules. So we try to, we work really hard to try to get those teams on our schedule. We go and scrimmage Kaukauna, at the first thing of the year. So, we know that we're going to get those, whether it's in the crossover game or whether it's the first or second round of playoffs. But yeah, we want to play the best of the best. Why wouldn't you as a coach?
Yeah.
If you have a skilled level team like I think we do this year, I truly believe the only way you get better is learning, but also maybe it's not always winning either. Sometimes having a loss earlier in the season, you learn from that, you grow from it, and that's how you get better in practice.
How does the Valley Conference shape up, and how does that help you guys progress through the season?
Yeah, I think our conference is going to be tough again this year. Point and Wausau West will be, again, tough battles this year. Kelly Cray at Wausau West, big 6'2", 6'3" post. And also Point, they've got a great coach over there and doing really good things. We saw them all this summer, whether it was Summer League, but it's going to be a battle. Every night you go in, whether you are playing a conference school or you are playing somebody from the Fox Valley or the Big Rivers, it's going to be a battle. We go to La Crosse Central on Friday, and I know they're down from this year, or from last year. But every game don't take for granted, because you never know what's going to happen, and teams can turn on at just the right time. So we just got to be playing good basketball. We got to have good practices the next several weeks, and hopefully we can make a run for the playoffs.
A little more pressure on you that you're favored to be number one in the conference, or?
I like the pressure. I do well under pressure, and I think even as a player, I always was hungry for that. I was an Ayanna Bossum, and just taking the last shot and running a play for you, and I think that speaks volumes. Running through the same shoes they ran through, playing in the same school that I played at. I know a little bit about basketball, and they are learning that as I'm in year 5 or 6 now. Being the head coach. So, again, I just think those life skills are a huge thing for the girls. And, again, just keep getting better every practice.
Gene?
All right, Taylor, thanks for coming by. Once again, La Crosse Central on Friday night. Down there at La Crosse Central. Good luck in that one and throughout the season.
Thank you.
Marshall Tiger girls basketball coach Taylor Verschow joining us on our high school girls basketball preview program from Nuts Deep 2 on South Central Avenue in Marshfield. And more of our program coming up in just a moment.
Why work for Staub Construction?
Everybody around you is just family.
Everybody seems to bond together and get along good, and
they, I believe, truly care about their employees.
Staub has a great benefits package.
Staub is an employee-owned company that puts a large emphasis on work-life balance.
And everybody wants to see everybody succeed.
It's a good place to work.
Join the team at Staub Construction. Apply now at staubco.com.
Snow piles up quickly. Remove it just as quickly with Kubota subcompact and compact tractors. Our #1 selling tractors are built to take on winter with front and rear mount snow blowers, blades, and rotary sweepers. Get select Kubota subcompact or compact tractors for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 60 months and save $1,000. See your local Kubota dealer today.
Your local Kubota dealer is Chili Implement, located 1 mile north of Highway 10 in Chili. Wondering what to feed your team after work, the game, or this weekend? Chips Hamburgers in Marshfield and Wisconsin Rapids has tasty char-broiled burgers for any hungry appetite. From the classic hamburger to the famous Chips Champ and everything in between, check out our daily specials. Stop inside to enjoy your meal with comfortable seating. See our complete menu of burgers, hot ham and cheese, hot beef, chicken and fish, fries, rings, curds, and ice cream served year-round. In a hurry? Same great menu in the drive-thru. Chips Hamburgers in Marshfield and Wisconsin Rapids.
Let your job journey begin at Express Employment Professionals. Find hundreds of employers looking for a candidate like you, all in one place at one time. And let Express Employment help connect you with your future career. With locations in Stevens Point, Wausau, Marshfield, and Medford, you'll find local jobs right in your community, including direct hire and evaluation to hire opportunities. Express Employment specializes in light industrial, skilled trades, professional, and office careers. Begin your job journey today with Express Employment Professionals at expresspros.com.
South Central Avenue in Marshfield. It's our girls basketball preview program. We thank the coaches who stopped by and joined us on our program today. We've enjoyed talking with them about girls basketball and the upcoming season. We do want to mention also, we do have a number of area players competing in college basketball this year. We'll be following them throughout the year. The Viterbo men's basketball team, coached by Marshfield's Wayne Wagner, they're going to play a Division II school on Thursday night, tomorrow night. They'll play at Northern Michigan at 5 o'clock. The Viterbo men, coached by Wayne Wagner, as we mentioned, and featuring former Columbus Don standout Nick Mulliver. And so we'll be following them throughout the season. Viterbo at Northern Michigan on Thursday evening. And on Friday night in college basketball action, University of Sioux Falls women's basketball team will take on Minnesota State Mankato at Mankato. The Sioux Falls women now featuring Danny Minsas of Marshfield. She's off to a good start, starting already in her true freshman season at Sioux Falls. And the Sioux Falls women then play Winona State at Winona on Saturday evening at 5:30. So a good chance for local fans, if you want to make a 2-hour drive, go down to Winona and see Danny play for Sioux Falls at Winona State on Saturday evening. The Viterbo men also play Saturday night at UW River Falls starting at 5 p.m. Also on Saturday, Grandview of Des Moines, Iowa, their women's basketball team facing Mid-America Nazarene at Grandview. Game time 4 p.m. And former Auburndale High School standout Amory Owie now playing college basketball for that Grandview ball club. Grandview also plays at home on Tuesday night of next week against Benedictine of Kansas. And Amory off to a pretty good start with that Grandview women's basketball team in Des Moines, Iowa. So some of the local area athletes competing in college basketball these days, and good luck to them throughout the season. It's our girls basketball preview program from Nuts Deep 2 on South Central Avenue in Marshfield. We'll come back with more of our program in just a moment.
High school sports is being brought to you courtesy of our broadcaster club members, including the Sports Den, South Central Avenue, Marshfield, bike, board, ski, explore, and accessorize. Total Electric Service, West Veterans Parkway, Marshfield, the right connection for electrical repair or installation for your home or business.
Fleet Farm has everything you need for every season of life. From tending the vegetable garden season to planting 100 acres of crops season. Fleet Farm is your one-stop shop. Whether it's strawberry jam season, cook your walleye season, or his first set of wheels season. Fleet Farm is built for every season. Fleet Farm, built for real life.
From humble beginnings in 1904, the Wheatrick family has grown Grassland Dairy Products into one of the largest processors of butter in the nation. Based in Greenwood, Wisconsin, the family and its hundreds of employees continue their pursuit of providing high-quality products that can proudly be served in restaurants and homes across America.
Need furniture? Come to Mall Furniture in Marshfield and get it now. We have what you want in stock. Do you need a new two-sided Wisconsin-built mattress set or adjustable bed? We have them in stock. Power lift chairs, rocker or wall recliner. How about a glider rocker or swivel rocker? We have them. Sofas, sectionals and sleepers, reclining and stationary, leather and cloth. Choose from Marshfield Furniture, Lazy Boy, and Best Home Furnishing. See our expanded Wolfcraft Maple and Oak, made in Marshfield Furniture. Bring your truck or trailer and take it with you, or have it delivered for a small fee.
Good day, my name is Ken Hyman and welcome to Nasonville Dairy here in central Wisconsin, Marshfield, Wisconsin as a matter of fact. We make a lot of different cheeses. We make cheddar, Colby, Monterey, Farmer's Cheese, Peach Cheese, Quesablanca.
Our coaches have all departed, so no more basketball to talk about for this coming season. Larry, it looks like a fun season on hand for Central Wisconsin fans this year.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to another great season for Neillsville.
Yeah.
They're off to a pretty good start. They had kind of a hiccup with McDonald Central, but I think
a lot of teams will.
Yeah, they've kind of turned things around, and I know we've talked about them earlier. They have a couple of freshmen that are doing very well, especially Maddie Dable, who either is second in scoring or leading them in scoring so far in the first few games. And, of course, Paris Opelt with 1,000 points last night, went over the 1,000-point mark. She has 1,009 now in her career. So, good things looking on the horizon for at least Neillsville.
And I neglected to mention, by the way, speaking of college basketball, I think tonight UW Stevens Point women are playing Ripon. And I believe Bella Opel's still playing for Ripon.
Yes, she is. Yes. And she or her sister, that's Paris' sister.
Yeah.
Both went over 1,000 points in their careers at Neillsville.
Oh, that's nice to hear.
Yeah.
So Bella Opelt of Ripon playing against Stevens Point in a non-conference matchup this evening. So we'll be following girls basketball throughout the year.
You bet.
On WPKG and on WOSQ and WDLB and on ZaleskiSports.com. And thanks once again to our coaches who stopped by and talk about girls basketball with us once again this year. Thanks also to the folks at Nuts Deep 2 here in Marshfield for their hospitality for us this evening.
Yes.
Once again, for Jason Zaleski and Larry Hazer, I'm Gene Delisio, and that wraps up our girls basketball preview program from Nuts Deep 2 on South Central Avenue in Marshfield.